Well, hi, and welcome to my third How to Be a Successful Mortgage Advisor, How to Succeed in the Mortgage Business. I'm Paul Archer. Welcome. And let's get into the topic today, which is all about client acquisition and prospecting. It's one of the ones that gets the most attendees, actually, because at the end of the day, you can be technically competent to the hilt, but if you can't market and get business, then you're not going to be very successful, of course, unless, of course, you want to work for a big business that does it all for you. So let's head over to the board then, see if we can get a few questions on this topic, shall we? So let's head on over. So as I said to you, the topic today is all about client acquisition and all those good things. Let's just pop in and say hello to you as well. We're about how to succeed as a mortgage advisor, client acquisition, prospecting, and personal marketing is the key. And the main audience for this one, hopefully yourselves, is somebody that's generally speaking responsible for doing their own marketing and their own lead generation, as we call it. If you're working for a bank or a building society and you just sit there and people come to you, then you probably don't need to listen to this particular one. But there we go. Let's crack on with the first question, shall we? And here's my very fancy office here up in these things. These backgrounds are quite cool, aren't they? Enough of that. Let's get into the first question. What is personal marketing? I'm often asked the question. Now, if you work for a large company, you will have marketers, and the marketer's job is to market the business. And that's great. But you see, you're a financial advisor, mortgage advisor, so you probably don't have time to be a marketing department, but you can do personal marketing. And personal marketing is very much doing it on a solo basis, on a limited budget. You're personally marketing your services to the outside world. So that's what personal marketing is. Next question. How can I prospect and advertise on the cheap? Again, people ask me this one. You've set up, you're on your own, you may be part of a small firm. You probably don't have thousands and thousands of pounds to throw at marketing. For example, if you're Santander or Barclays, you can probably spend thousands of pounds on Google and do Google advertising, collar the word mortgage advice, because that's going to cost you quite a few £1,000s with Google. But you don't have that. So how can you do it on the cheap? Well, you can do it on the cheap by being clever, referrals, internet leads, Facebook advertising. You can do inbound knowledge, content-based stuff, education, seminars. You can use YouTube. You can even ask friends and family, which all of us did when we started off in the life assurance trade. I did many years ago. And the first thing my governor said to me is go and get the phone book out. This is the day, and go and phone all your friends and family to get some leads. But that was a pretty different time those days. So that's how you do it on the cheap. Let's talk about how we do that in more detail, shall we? So what's the difference then between marketing and advertising? Just clear up a few differences for you. Well, advertising, of course, is part of the marketing mix. We know that. But the main difference is with marketing, it's more than just promoting your services. It's brand, it's website, it's your USP or proposition, your sector, what you're about, your LinkedIn profile. It's more than just advertising. It's a lot more brand awareness. Internet marketing now is content generation and all those good things. You're not just spending money on a banner advert on a website or putting yourself on the local radio or something like that. That's advertising. So marketing is a bit more involved in that. And that's what we get involved in as mortgage advisors. Okay, next question. Will my brokerage give me leads? Well, if it does, then great. I was reading an article this morning and I was on LinkedIn, and there was this brokerage up in Manchester looking for self-employed advisors. And they have two types of self-employed advisor. They have the self-employed advisor who generates her own leads, and there's the self-employed advisor who is fed leads. And basically, the one that generates their own leads gets more commission, or a bigger slice of the prop fee and commission that's involved here. So it costs money. That's the whole point. And if the brokerage is going to give you leads, then that brokerage has probably obtained them through some sort of cost, and they're going to charge you accordingly. There's now such thing as a free lunch, as they often say, don't they? But if they're going to give you leads, they may well have their own client base. That's the point. They might have their own clients. It might be a financial services firm. It might be an accountancy firm behind the scenes. which has a massive client bank, maybe orphan clients who haven't been touched for a long while, hence they call them orphan clients. And you can phone them up because they've already been a customer of the brokerage, you see. So that's great if they got a client bank. Then I think you're laughing then, because it's not a difficult thing to make contact and organise appointments to talk about people's needs. But if they don't have that infrastructure, they'll probably buy them themselves. You've probably got bought leads anyway, or some other kind of lead generation method, maybe for a website or something like that. So if they give you leads, great. But believe me, you still got to work hard to turn that lead into an appointment and then to a client. And that's the hard part. And we'll come on to that, I think. Hopefully, we've got a few more questions on that basis for you. How can I buy leads from the internet? Well, you can. If you want to sign up to a lead generation site and get involved there, you can buy leads. They're usually done on an auction basis for both protection and mortgage. You sign up for it, and you have your phone nearby because you get text phone numbers in order to contact the lead directly. They'll charge you anything between 75, 80, 100, 150 pounds for a lead, according to what your specific need is and what your keywords are as well. What kind of lead are you looking for? So you can buy leads, and many mortgage and financial advisors do very well from bought leads. But the trick, of course, of the bought lead is turning it into an appointment. So again, I hope that's going to be a question very soon. And coming up very soon, I guess, as well. What's the best form of lead magnet? Well, we're talking here about something that's on the internet that gets people's attention. So when you buy a lead, what happens there is that the firm that owns the website has these websites, which usually has got some really good information about buying houses, mortgages, or whatever. Customers or clients, when they're doing their online research, find themselves to this website because the website's got good lead magnets. In other words, they've got useful information that brings people into them. They want more help, so they fill in a box with their email address and phone number, and that's what the lead is. It's usually some kind of aggregator site or some kind of information site that collects customers' emails and phone numbers, in which you then phone that client in order to make an appointment. So lead magnets themselves are information, usually something that is of use to a prospective customer, which draws them in. It's often called clickbait. Have you heard that phrase, clickbait, where something, you go onto a website and it lures you in with something that sounds interesting or curious or something, called clickbait. The internet's full of it. You've got to be very careful because you can waste your whole time on that, can't you? But a lead magnet is something that you would want to do. Now, the best kind of lead magnet for you, by the way, is the promise of further information and education on the particular topic that you're involved in. And we'll come on to that as the questions evolve as well. So that's a lead magnet. How do I convert a lead into an appointment? That's the question I was hoping was going to come up. Now, what you have to do here is you have to get very good at selling the appointment. That's pretty. If you're an advisor, great. Yeah, you're going to be doing some advice at some point. Of course you are, but this requires sales skills. Okay, what you say, it requires sales skills, because you've got to persuade, convince, influence the customer to go from a phone call to an appointment, a first meeting. Try not to call it appointments, by the way, because you get appointments at dentists, don't you? Nobody wants to go to the dentist, do they? Unless, of course, you're mad. But the point is, though, you need to be able to get a first meeting with the customer. And you need some sales skills to be able to do that. You need to be able to overcome objections. You need to build a quick rapport. You need to talk to the customer about their goals. Yes, you don't want to talk too long because you'll end up giving advice on the phone. Remember, that customer wants extra help. The customer couldn't get it from the website that they were on. Hence, they put their number in to be contacted by somebody like you to talk through their particular problem or challenge that they've got. So you need to fix up that appointment to be able to talk to them about that. And once you've got this appointment going, you then got your sales process that leads its way all the way along. Excuse me. So don't start giving advice. Don't give information. You need to learn how to do that. We've got modules that help you to learn how to do that. So that's how you do that one for you as well. So how can I use Facebook? Now, Facebook is a very interesting site to use for mortgage brokers, mortgage advisors. A lot of mortgage brokers, mortgage advisors use LinkedIn. I think that's another question coming up shortly. But Facebook, you see, is where people hang out, where your customers hang out. And I don't know who your customers are. By the way, they shouldn't be everybody. I hope you've niched your customer so that you're focusing on a specific market. So say, for example, you're in the later life market, you're looking at equity release and that kind of stuff. Now, your marketplace then is people over the age of 65 who are homeowners, who maybe live in the southwest of England, who may have grandchildren. You know, kind of thing. Facebook allows you to distinguish their members according to that kind of criteria. So you put out a posting on Facebook, whatever that looks like, and you want to promote that posting beyond your reach. So that's when you pay Facebook some money to do that. It's very good, very low price too. You'd be surprised how cheap it is. But you can say, please send this advertising or this posting, which hopefully is some kind of promise of further education, a seminar or something for people, or a download or something. So people go onto your website and leave their email address with you, because that's what you want. You know, you want clickbait. That's what this is. This is a lead magnet, some kind of brochure, information, white paper, whatever it is, video. And you say, look, can you post this to all grandmothers over the age of 75 living in the southwest of England who own their own house with no mortgage? And Facebook can do that. It's really cool. So that's how you use Facebook to advertise. And I think you should do that as well, according to your marketplace. How might LinkedIn help me grow a business? Well, the problem with LinkedIn is that there's very few consumers on there. It's a business to business platform, LinkedIn. I use it all the time because most of my customers are businesses. And of course, as a mortgage advisor, you'll probably want to build relationships with other businesses like lenders, insurance companies, BDMs, people like other brokerages. You might want to use it for building relationships with lawyers and solicitors and accountants if you're getting referrals going on that basis as well. It's a good place to maximize your brand, to show what you're about, but you probably won't get many consumers from it. So advertising on LinkedIn, you know, the ABC of first-time buyers or something, may not appeal to your business connections. Yeah, on Facebook definitely, and Instagram maybe, but not LinkedIn. It has its place. It has its place for your own benefits, keeping in touch with your corporate connections, CPD, that sort of thing, but probably not for getting new consumers to come and talk to you about mortgages. But you might find it differently. Is it essential to have a website? Well, I think it is essential to have a website. You need a home. And that's not an office, by the way, in the high street. You need a home where you can show your credibility, your expertise. Good brokers have websites with their testimonials on them. Now, you'll want to be signing up for something like Trustpilot or Google Reviews or something like that, or Facebook Reviews, where all your reviews are posted on that site, and people can add more reviews, by the way. Don't do reviews where you promote you know, people send you in emails how much they love you and you put the information on your website, because anybody can do that. You want one that's publicly available, like Google Reviews, so people appreciate the genuineness of a Google review rather than one that you've kind of half made up on your website. Now, your website, of course, needs to have a collection box. So when people come into your website from your advertising on Facebook, for example, with your lead magnets, they land on your landing page, as we call it, and they put in their email address, and that gets taken into your incubator, which we'll talk about in a short while on that. So that's a good use for a website as well. You need to obviously have your FCA credibility at the bottom, show who you're authorized with, whole of market. Maybe you're directly authorized, or maybe you're an AR of a particular network. So that all needs to be on there as well for people to be able to see. You need to have maybe a document store where people can upload documents to you via your website. That's particularly useful if you want PDFs or payslips, stuff like that as well. That's always a useful thing to have as well. So I think a website's definitely useful. You won't get people landing on it randomly because there's too many websites for people to go on. People land on the likes of the Halifax or Nationwide because they've got Google juice. So when people key in mortgage advice, you know, mortgages for self-employed, they'll go on to the big 5 banks and building societies because they pay Google a lot of money to do that. You ain't got the money for that. So people won't land on your website organically. You send them to your website as the first part of your sales process. So that's the reason for a website. I think that's a good one, isn't it? What other social platforms can be useful to me? Well, that's entirely up to you. Depends how much time you've got, because you can waste an awful lot of time on social media. Remember, social media is where your customers are. That's where they hang out. They hang out online. So you're going to find them and find them where they are. Um, Instagram is a big one for many mortgage brokers. It's a bit like Facebook, but it's for younger people. You might want to use TikTok if your customers are young. I'm not saying it's just young people on TikTok, but it's mostly. I've got TikTok, and my middle son has, and he's 25. But that's the point. You see, if your customers are 25-year-olds, they will be on TikTok. So you might want to use that to demonstrate your ability, put your lead magnets out there so people come in, talk to you, send you their email address as well. YouTube is a definite one, by the way. Definitely use YouTube. Definitely use other types, blogging platforms if you want to put out articles and things, Twitter if you want to, or X as they're now called, aren't they? But beyond that, it's entirely up to you how many more you've got time to do. But you can't do it all. So focus your time and efforts on the ones that you feel your customers are going to be at. That's the key. One of my mortgage coaching clients I talked to this morning, she uses Instagram and Facebook, and that's it. She has LinkedIn for her professional connections, but they're the only two she uses. She has a YouTube presence as well, because that's the time she can spend on it. So that's the way to operate that, isn't it? How can a YouTube channel help me? Now, I've mentioned YouTube a couple of times. YouTube is particularly useful to demonstrate your expertise. Remember, people will want to talk to you because you've got a brain which has got information. You give advice. You're a regulated advisor. You will have information that your customers need to help them solve their problems. So, for example, if the customer is a self-employed person who has all sorts of different income from different sources, that might be your bag. That might be where you specialize. It might be that your customers happen to be dentists or doctors or whatever. So you know information that can help them to buy homes. So you might be really good at understanding how self-employed income works and how you could get yourself mortgage ready for a mortgage if you're self-employed. So that's the information you put out on your YouTube channel. Do some videos. I do them all the time. Make sure you have decent enough production. But I know one bloke that promotes himself. He just has his phone rigged up and he just talks in front of his phone, uploads that to YouTube. It's very good. He doesn't need any specialized equipment to do that. So that's the use of a YouTube channel. You can do shorts as well, which are like 30-second things on portrait for phones. They're quite popular as well. You can certainly use YouTube for lead generation. It does work. People do go on YouTube. They do use YouTube as a search engine. I get a lot of people come to me via YouTube because they search the various hashtags that I put out on my YouTube channel. They find me, they watch a couple of videos, they like what they see, they subscribe, they get used to you, they understand what you're about, they learn to trust you and like you and all those things. And that's what you want your customers to do. So that's how you can use YouTube channel. But if you've got a face for radio, then don't use YouTube. Use a podcast or Podbean or something like that. That's YouTube for you as well, isn't it? How can I promote and remain compliant? Now, this is really important because you are a regulated advisor. You will probably have compliance people behind the scenes telling you what you can and can't do. Everybody does. Let's get into the real world. So make sure that you remain compliant. There's a few changes coming in as well. Obviously, GDPR requires any database of customers you've registered with the data protection people, and you keep people's data cleaned and only keep it for the required time. Don't start buying databases of customers and blank emailing them. That's just ridiculous. People do that, and it really annoys me as well. MCOB 3 covers promotions and advertising, real-time promotions and non-real-time promotions. Make sure you read MCOB 3 as well. Think future as well. Obviously, any advertising and leaflets you do has to be compliant. You probably go run those past your compliance people. You will have a compliance department or advisor that tells you what you can and can't do. The FCA are on this at the moment. They're a bit worried about finfluencers. You heard that phrase before? Influencers who are financially bent, if you like. So financial finfluencers all over TikTok like rashes. There's thousands of people, if not millions, that will tell TikTok viewers all about financial services, mostly investing and Bitcoin, stuff like that. They're not regulated. They probably don't know what they're talking about, half of them. That may be wrong in saying that, but many of them probably don't. They're not authorized anyway, or they don't have the examinations. But they're advertising and influencing young people to buy these things. The FCA are on it. They're looking at it closely. They're about to upgrade the rules on social media prospecting and marketing. So watch this space. We'll do a video on that one when we get some more information. The FCA are doing a bit of a consultation. Love that, don't you? By September, they'll have all the trade bodies and all the various interested parties telling people what they think. We'll probably end up with a load of extra rules, actually. Well, they'll get rid of various people on TikTok promoting Bitcoin. I don't know. There's not enough people at the FCA to police it, unless they use technology to do it. But you need to obviously remain compliant as well. How can I keep a prospective client warm? Now, we've talked about this before. I talk about this a lot. Remember, all this marketing that you're doing is luring customers to you. You're bringing customers to your proposition, what it is you're about. So make sure you know what your proposition is and what advice you give and what's your expertise. You're luring people in. One of the big problems we've got at the moment is so many first-time buyers, renters, for example, who are putting off buying a house because of the market. So they're waiting, they're getting themselves ready, really. They're waiting for rates to come down. Somebody told them that the rates ain't coming down. They'll settle, but they won't come down by much that they've done before. Now, these people are waiting. They won't be moving for a year, 2 years. So you'll probably talk to people in your marketing efforts who are not in a position to move at all yet, but they will, and they still need some help in getting themselves mortgage ready. They still need to learn about mortgages and house buying. So we use an incubator. You need to use an incubator too. Now, an incubator's proper name is a CRM system, a customer relationship management system. Something like Capsule, for example, where you capture people's email addresses and names. That's all it is. And then you send them information. So if my marketplace was first-time buyers, for example, then I know full well that I ain't going to make any money from first-time buyers at the moment. I'm going to make money from product transfers and remortgages, which I'm doing for my client base. But in the meantime, I'm marketing first-time buyers, renters, for example, Generation Rent, and I will keep them in touch with information. I'll send them weekly emails, maybe bi-weekly, about how to be mortgage ready. That's the title of my emailer. These are tips and techniques from Paul Archer on how to be mortgage ready when you are ready to step onto the housing ladder. And I send them articles, videos, podcasts. I put them in the incubator so that it's an automated emailer system thing that I'm doing. And that way they learn to love you, trust you, adore you. And when they're ready to move, they'll contact you. They will be in touch with you, amongst other people as well. So that's how you keep prospective clients warm. Hey, how are we doing then? How do I set up a referral management system? This is the big one. All good, successful financial advisors, professional advisors, lawyers, accountants, mortgage advisors, they live and die by referrals. It's as simple as that. Now, the problem with that system is that many existing financial advisors get organic referrals. In other words, they've looked after their client beautifully. And by the way, we were looking after clients before Consumer Duty, but we're doing it even better now. But the point is, clients love you and they say lovely things about you, and they refer their friends and family to you. And that organically happens. And you may get, after 5-10 years in business, lots of referrals. But if you're starting off, you probably won't get many organic referrals. So you've got to set up a system to make it happen. And I call this my stepping stones. It's 3 stages. Step 1 is sow the seed. Step 2 is testimonial. Step 3 is ask for the introduction. And I've got videos on that technique for you. It means that pretty much every customer you turn into a client and you do business with, you will get one referral from every client. Now, you don't need to work out the maths to realize how much business you're going to get. It's a bit like one of those COVID illness graphs where it's just like grows and grows and grows, isn't it? That's what happens. So that's how you set up a referral management system. 3 steps. Step 1, sow the seed. Step 2, testimonial. Step 3, ask for the introduction. Not referral, by the way, it's an introduction. So that's how you do a referral management system. But more videos on that one another time for you. On my YouTube channel, I think I've got a few of those as well. What professional networks would be useful? Again, this is for professional services now. Many mortgage advisors, financial advisors, particularly financial advisors, they get their business referred to them by other professionals. See, they're crystal clear as to who their client base is. And if their client base, for example, is high net worth people, then those high net worth clients will have professional advisors all over them, won't they? They'll have lawyers and accountants. And what you do is you fix up an arrangement with a lawyer firm, for example, to refer customers to your clients, to you. or you fix up with a local accountant to refer self-employed clients to you. Takes a bit of doing. You have to obviously form a relationship, build a relationship, find these people, look at sort of a way of helping them. You scratch their back, they scratch your back, and you might pay them money, a finder's fee or whatever. But great professional networks work really well. Estate agency is the first port of call for many mortgage advisors. The estate agency network has no mortgage broker, so they need somebody to furnish mortgages for their clients. You may have to pay the estate agent money because that's how they roll. That's life. But these are good things. You might extend beyond that and look at one of these BNI groups, these networking groups where different tradespeople and professionals meet up once a month and you share leads. That's a great thing, and I know many mortgage brokers do really well from that as well. So that's something to think about. Local chambers of commerce, that sort of thing, breakfast clubs. All these referral networks can sometimes be useful, awfully time consuming. But then if you're going to meet up for breakfast, you might have a nice breakfast at the same time. But it's about using other professional people to refer customers to you, clients to you. So there's two types of referrals. There's ones that you generate yourself from your clients, and there's business referrals you get from business connections as well. So that's another thing. You definitely should be doing that, by the way, because that's pretty cheap and free to do. Do I need commercial premises? Talk about marketing now. Marketing's about price and place. Do I need a commercial premises? Well, you can if you want to, but you don't have to these days. Your customer might want to go to an office where there's a room and a seat and a computer, and I get all of that. But many mortgage advisors now are using video in order to talk to customers, or the phone, or they go to customers' premises. That's quite common. If they need an office, they'll hire a Regis or something in order to operate that way. Don't go start meeting customers in hotel foyers and stuff like that, because it's just not private enough. But online, using video is a very common place to do it. So online presence works really well indeed. Obviously, if you have a commercial premises, it's cost, isn't it? At the moment, you want to keep your costs down as much as possible, I would suggest. So I don't think you need commercial premises. Can I be based at home? Of course you can. Set up your business, limited company, go to company's house, put your home address in, FCA register, etc. Nothing wrong with that at all. The world has changed now. You can be a professional advisor based from home. You have a home office. I wouldn't suggest you work on a dining room table, but have a home office or a room or something that's converted. But people don't expect to have a glorious commercial premises. The clients are very different nowadays. If you're worried about your address, get a PO box. If you want to, a post office box which hides, 22 Acacia Avenue. It obviously looks like residential, but you don't need to have a commercial premises, and you can be based at home as well. Where can I meet clients? Well, that's entirely up to you where you want to meet clients. You can meet them online, as we said, in a Regis. You can have a hired office. You can have your own office if you want to, or shared office space as well. You can meet clients that way in their homes, of course. But the online one is a really good place to go. If you want to be really modern, then you meet people face to face to start with. I get all of that to build that rapport. But start doing your meetings on video, online, or on the phone. And the phone still works, by the way, quite well. So that's a good place where you can meet your clients. I think so too, isn't it? What sales process should I adopt? Now we're into selling. Now, the purpose behind marketing, remember, or personal marketing, is to bring your customers wherever they are to you. Once they come to you and they've got their ears open, then you can begin your sales process. So selling itself is not marketing, although it's very closely connected, isn't it? One, marketing brings the customer to you, and your sales process then takes you to the next stage. Now, you should have a sales process. Call it an advice process if you prefer, but it's a process which means that the customer goes from lead all the way to a completed mortgage client or protection client, whatever that looks like for you. So make sure it works for you. You need to engineer this according to what you're about. Talk to other brokers if you want to as well. You need to automate it as much as possible. So build in your CRM system to it as well. And all of your best advice software, your suitability report software needs to be embedded into your sales process. But the broad way of handling it could be, number one, is to have a 15-minute discovery call where you just chat through chemistry, see if there's a fit. It's free, it's complimentary. That's the first step. And if that works and there's a good chemistry between you and your customer and they like you, you like them, and you can help them, you sell your fee, then you go on to your first meeting. Now, the first meeting might be a further explore to find out needs, wants, etc. You might have another meeting which is the formal fact find. You might have a meeting which is the affordability. You might do that before the fact find. It's entirely up to you. But if you're online, you see, you can do lots of little meetings. Gone are the day where you have a 2-hour mortgage interview. Oh my God, that just sounds awful. I remember the banks used to do those when we had the 2014 changes to the rules. I worked for a large building society and they would have a 3-hour mortgage interview. Honestly, 3 hours it took. The customer was exhausted, and by half an hour, they'd lost the will to live, and no information was going in. So break it down into small chunks. So a 15-minute discovery call to start with, maybe an affordability conversation for 15 minutes, then a fact find for half an hour, then maybe a further explore for another half an hour. Then it's the presentation. You've got to do sourcing as well, of course. Then it's the presentation of your mortgage. And then it's a mortgage offer meeting to tidy up a few loose ends, get some testimonials, that sort of thing. And then maybe once they've moved in or it's a remortgage and they complete, maybe you have a post-completion catch-up where you wrap up your protection possibly, or you definitely do your introductions at that point as well. So break it down to lots of little parts. In my book, which is of course this one here, which I shall share you because I can, Mortgage Advising New Rules, available from Amazon. We got chapters on that, and we can talk you through the sales process very, very easily indeed. Okay, a couple more questions I think we've got. How can I store client data? Well, client data needs to be stored on a CRM system. Now, this is your customer data. This is what you're worth. We talked about this before. This is your value. So any customers you're coming in from your marketing, email addresses and phone numbers and names is all you really need. Then that gets stored on your customer relationship management software. And there's loads of those. Your network or your principal may have one for you. Careful, because they may own the client. If you key in your customer details, which you've generated and ends up on their CRM, then you're not going to be able to take that away with you, are you? Have your own. You can use Capsule CRM. I've got a list of them over here. You could use Insightly, Nimble. LinkedIn's got its own sales process as well built into that. And Microsoft's got their Dynamics. There's plenty of cheap CRMs. You can have $10 a month they cost you just to house client data. Obviously, get yourself registered with the data protection people for GDPR to make sure you're fully regulated in that respect. So you do need tech to do this. Don't get an old Filofax out like we used to do in the old days. That's definitely how you would do that as well. I think I've got a couple final questions. First of all, how should I maintain contact with clients? How do I maintain contact with clients? This is my last question before we go to our audience. Now, that's the key thing, isn't it? How do you maintain contact with clients? We've talked about the incubator system, whereby you send them weekly things via email. Make sure they follow you on all the relevant social media and you follow them as well. There's nothing wrong with sending clients birthday cards or Christmas cards. It's a bit corny, but it works every time. I did a live stream yesterday, and I'm 60 in October, and I'll probably get 5 birthday cards, maybe 6 if I'm lucky. When you get to my age, you don't get many cards, and it's okay. I'm over it now. But if you get an extra card from your financial advisor, it's brilliant. You're going to pick it up, aren't you? If you're 8, then you probably get quite a few birthday cards. But I don't know many of you who've got 8-year-old customers when it comes to it as well. Email content's the big one, of course. Social media is the big one as well. Remember to keep in touch with people with dates in the diary, if fixed terms coming to an end, that sort of thing. Changes, you can contact them just for a review. You should do reviews as well. Many mortgage brokers don't do reviews. Financial advisors do because they get paid for it. You should charge as well for an annual mortgage MOT or an annual finance MOT. Remember, you're a financial expert. You're not a mortgage purveyor. The banks do that. You're a financial expert whose job is to help people obtain the very best finance to purchase their properties and achieve whatever goals they've got, and to make sure that they don't lose those properties policies in the event of death or illness. That's simply what you do. Let's not make it more complicated. But you're an expert at that, and you will do a review once a year online on video. No need to get in the car and destroy the environment and pay your ULEZ fee if you're in London. Just get on that line, get on the video, catch up with them, do a new fact find. You will probably find there's some new protection needs required, and definitely maybe some remortgage business or whatever it is. Fixed rates come to an end. I get it. You should be there like 9 months beforehand, but they should be knowing you. Your name should be in the frame more than the lender, because the lenders are getting so much of this product transfer business because they're better at keeping in touch with people than you are. As the average broker's not particularly good at that. So that's how you maintain contact with clients. Hey, there's a lot of questions there on that one, isn't it? A lot of information. And a quick glance down to see if we've got any questions from our audience. If we've got a couple of people live here. If you wanted to tap in any questions, be happy to answer those. Can't see any coming through. So I'm going to pop over to the other side of my studio and catch my breath, really, because we probably had a good 22, 23 questions there about personal marketing and how to be a successful mortgage advisor. That's what we're looking at here, aren't we? How to be successful in the aim of prospecting and marketing, client acquisition, call it what you like. We've got a lot of different names for that as well, haven't we? How to be a successful mortgage advisor. So I hope that's been useful. As always, remember, if you're not on my member list, just scan in that little barcode there. That'll get you into our system. Of course, that gets you into my landing page, as you can see from the picture. You put your email address in there, and then I gobble you up, and we keep you with information, free stuff, and all sorts of things to keep you posted with what's going on. So this has been client acquisition and marketing and prospecting and personal marketing. Hope you found it all very useful. I'm sure you have. And if there's any other things that we can help you with, let me know. Otherwise, I'll be seeing you on Thursday evening for some more information about all the good things that make up the next topic. So have fun all, and I'll see you later this week. Bye.